What is crisis management? Crisis management is our process to deal with a major event that threatens to harm the organization, its stakeholders, or the general public. It is the process which results in an immediate response and adapts to the unexpected situation in a trustworthy and timely manner so that Uniper can return to business as usual. A crisis can result from a natural disaster, such as a flood or a violent storm that affects your workplace. Or a technological disaster, such as global IT failure, a cyber attack, or an industrial accident. What if there was a confrontational crisis, like a boycott, a picket, a blockade, or a negative social media campaign? Uniper could also face a crisis due to criminal acts, like a kidnapping or a terrorist attack. So, if the worst happens, and the crisis management team is required, do you know the sequence of steps to follow to deal with a crisis? You have been informed about a crisis. The crisis information is supplied in accordance with your alarm workflow and alarm list. With the CMT lead, or jointly with other CMT members, evaluate the received information and decide when, where, and in what composition the crisis management team will congregate. For evaluation of severity of incident, use the severity level matrix. Begin to keep a log of all your activities, decisions, and course of the events. It's time for the CMT to assess the impact. The incident owner will provide information about the status of the occurred crisis. Make sure you focus on the impact the crisis will have to the following areas: employees' health and safety, assets, energy delivery, and business continuity, legal obligations, and financial. After initial assessment, ask yourself, what measures were taken so far? What important information is missing at this point in time? Are there any further investigations required? And what development could the crisis have next? Based on the provided information, evaluate the situation for your own expert area by asking the following. What effects will the crisis have on your business? What consequences will there be to your staff, stakeholders, or customers? What legal, risk, and reputation consequences will the crisis have on your business? Assess the severity level. Remember, log all of your activities and decisions. Let's look at the actions you must take. First, decide on the composition of the crisis management team and clearly define individual roles and responsibilities. Based on the assessment you made previously, define and agree on recovery strategies, priorities, and other measures to mitigate the impact. Ask, is it possible to use prepared business continuity plans or instructions? Initiate an investigation if necessary. Ensure that necessary resources will be put in place. If the severity level is assessed on level 2 or 3, inform CMT Uniper SE and ask for support if needed. Define the communication strategy towards all critical internal and external stakeholders, employees, and customers. Determine the time, frequency, and method of communication flow among CMT members. Remember, continue to log all your activities and decisions. Re-evaluate the status of the crisis as described in Step 2. Adjust the agreed strategies or define new ones if necessary. Keep an agreed communication strategy and adjust if necessary. Determine time, frequency, and method of the communication flow among CMT members. Repeat Step 4 until the crisis is solved and business as usual is confirmed. Continue to keep a log of all actions. At the end of the crisis, It's important to reflect on the crisis and the decisions that were made. First, perform a hot crisis debrief after the declaration of the end of the crisis. Determine whether any further long-term or follow-up activities are necessary. Identify places for improvement and document lessons learned. Step 1. Evaluate the received information and decide when, where, and in what composition the crisis management team will congregate. Step 2. Perform an initial assessment. Step 3. Take actions to resolve the crisis. Step 4. Re-evaluate the crisis and take further actions if required to solve the crisis. Step 5. Perform a hot crisis debrief to end the crisis situation. Always remember to keep a log of all your activities, decisions, and the course of the event. Assess before action. Document lessons learned.